afternoon, good evening. This is the Misha Francis YouTube channel. Yeah, I just want to say, all this, there's been a lot going on for a very long time. And what's behind it is the fact that it's got nothing to do with me supposedly doing something wrong. It's a lie. It's a whitewash, and you've all been diverted because all the highlighting individuals, it's got nothing to do with them. It's not about them. They're just pushing up themselves, yeah, and getting promoted by the racist media and the racist police and the system. Yeah, my father married a white woman. Basically, he met my stepmother, Renia Kazmarek, of Polish origin, in the 70s. Now, my dad kidnapped me and my sister Yvonne from my mother. Yeah, and basically he eventually met my stepmother in Lancashire, in Oldham. Yeah, in Lancashire. And the reason why my dad took up this woman, this white woman, was because he had nobody else to help him look after his two children. And he was determined that he didn't want me and Yvonne to go back to my mother. My mother was fighting for me and Yvonne to come back to her. And my dad was determined that he's not going to give up. He's going to keep his two children. That's me and Yvonne. So he met this white woman, and basically, we were very young, me and Yvonne. We were a very young age, and we had to call her mummy, and treat her like she's our mother. So basically, the story is, Daddy never really wanted this white woman. My black mother told me, years and years ago, that my dad said to her when he was in a relationship with her, that he would never, ever take up a white woman. Anyway, it so happens that he ran off with his two children and he was struggling. He had no one to look after his kids. And Daddy was a breadwinner. He was always the one to go out and try hustle or make a money or get a job to bring home the bacon. You know, he didn't like really sitting at home, you know, doing the house chores and babysitting. He was a man that liked to go out and work hard and hustle and bring home the money. So he desperately needed a woman to help him look after his two children. So when he met my stepmother, she's a white woman, she was told she couldn't have children because she suffers from epilepsy, severe epilepsy, and she was on certain lifelong medications. So they said that will cause too much complications for her to be able to give birth to a child. So my dad took her on, and he never married her. He had no intentions of marrying her. Yeah, he just wanted someone to look after his two children, his two black children. Because he was desperate. He didn't want me and Yvonne to go back to my mum. And I reckon that he must have loved my mum really, because he was being spiteful. Yeah? So anyway, he's very stubborn. And he refused that he's not letting me and Yvonne go. So he never intended to marry Reenie. Anyway, there were problems because for her to be adapting to an interracial relationship and the culture, my dad's, ways and his culture. And plus, she had difficulty with me and Yvonne because she couldn't do her hair. She didn't cream her skin. She didn't look after us properly, really. We used to play out on the street looking anyhow with the big dry head, not combed, dry skin, white skin, and all them kind of thing there, plus the food that she was giving us, she couldn't cook. When Daddy first met her, she couldn't cook. We and Yvonne had to eat the rice, which was soggy, and most of the grains were hard and uncooked, and stuff like that. So me and Yvonne had to live on stuff like powdered mashed potato, instant powdered mashed potato, and tin soup, like Heinz tomato soup with bread and butter. So basically, Daddy didn't marry her. He had no intentions of marrying her. Yeah? So she used to complain that, because one day I was playing with her wig, because she wears a wig because she got burned when she was 15. And I was playing with the wig and putting some cream in it and combing it and tried to curl it up. I was only a toddler. She went mad. You know what you're doing. You're wicked and you're evil. That's what she was telling me as a baby. Yeah? And I was shocked because I was only playing with the dolly hair. As far as I was concerned, it was dolly hair. I didn't know anything better. She was going mad and saying she couldn't stand me. And I reflect back to when I had my children, my first two girls, and they were young. And there was a little girl. I was in hostels and refuges with my young children, and there was a little girl called Tanisha, and that I'd met her dad. Her dad was called Andrew. And there was another girl in another hostel, a little girl called Misty. And they used to really irritate me. I couldn't stand Tanisha and Misty. And they were beautiful black girls, but they were very, like forward and playful and bossy. And they used to boss my little daughter around So basically, my stepmom couldn't stand me because I was like Tanisha and Misty. Very confident little girls and thing like that. And she found me irritating. She couldn't stand me. And I wasn't doing it on purpose. I wasn't an innocent child. So she had this resent towards me and Yvonne. Because basically, years later, in 2000, I would say roughly 2005, she told me over the phone that when she met my dad, and he had these two little black children, she didn't want us. She admitted she didn't want us. So all along, she was very resentful right from the beginning with these two black children that weren't hers. Yeah? She didn't want to be a stepmother to these children. She said she just wanted to be with my dad. And she said, I loved your dad when I met him, but he had these two black shit, like to say. She didn't want us. But the story is, Daddy only got with her because he had two young children and he was struggling, two babies, and he needed a woman to look after them. Daddy would have never looked at her otherwise. He didn't want her. That's really the irony of the tale. Because she said she wanted my dad. She loved my dad. But Daddy didn't love her. He didn't want her. He just used her to look after his children. Anyway, growing up, Daddy would, when I was young, Daddy would often, because there were problems in the relationship between my dad and my stepmom, and Daddy would sometimes beat her up. Quite often when we were young, he would beat her up, And funny enough, another irony is I would be the one that would be coming to her defense. I would be telling my dad, leave her alone. And I was only little, tiny, and I'd be running to her defense because I felt sorry that she was getting beat up. And I would get beat up as well for defending her. Anyway, going forward, fast forwarding, the story is that they basically, we were being watched anyway because social services were involved for a long time ago. The film was made by Steven Spielberg. There was a lot of spying and intrusion, you know, in spying on us. So they observed, the system observed that Daddy didn't really respect the white, my stepmother, because she was white. Yeah. And the things like how we treated her, he wouldn't do that if he was with a black woman. Now, I'm a lot older now. I'm 52 years old. And I recognize that in hindsight, maybe he didn't really respect her because she was white. But what does that have to do with me and Yvonne? Because it's not just about me. Me and Yvonne have suffered in relationships ever since we were old enough, basically, to have relationships of our own. And I recognize a pattern with the black man in my personal relationships that I haven't done anything to them wrong. Yeah? And I've been treated very badly. And otherwise, I notice black men, this is my personal experience, black men respect black women more than white women. It's that connection we have. Yeah? I noticed that. But I noticed the men in my life have been manipulated in the course of the relationship, yeah, to be treating me badly for no reason at all. Now, what I've identified is, with all this going on and the playing off all these white girl, half-caste girl, Indian girl, all this bullshit, and I've said, this is all bullshit. It's not even about anybody else. It's a fact, it's racist, institutional and direct racism. Daddy did not respect a white woman that he was with. In the course of my relationship, before I left home, Daddy started having a relationship with a young black woman. And he didn't want my stepmom anymore. And my stepmom came crying to me saying, oh, he doesn't want me anymore. He actually loves this other woman, a younger black woman. Anyway, subsequently, he was murdered. On New Year's Day, 1999, he told me my stepmother wanted him dead and she's going to take all the money. And that's what happened. She took all the money. He said she wouldn't give me and Yvonne any. And subsequently, it turned out to be true. He'd suddenly dropped dead. Yeah, no sickness, no illnesses. Very suspicious circumstances. I know he was murdered. And the fact is, she took all the money. She didn't give me and Yvonne any. She told us she's not giving us any. So, Daddy said she would look after her own children, but she won't give me and Yvonne any. And that's what happened. And fast forwarding to date, I have suffered, yeah, because my father had a relationship with a white woman who was my stepmother, and he didn't respect her because she was white, and he treated her, indifferently or whatever than he would have treated if she was a black woman. Now, they use like what's the word? This is like a psychology the NHS use, like a role play, to make you, put you in that position, put me in the position of Rini, my stepmother, so that I would be forced to have empathy with her as a white woman and be sympathetic towards white women. And, the idea is to force black men to respect white women. Now, I don't want to do this. Yeah, and they've been trying to force me, and they've ruined all my relationships for nothing. The last relationship is like, he turned around and said, for no reason, out of the blue, I'm going to get a white woman to be my wife next, a white girl to be my wife next. So I could intercept straight away the background and where that really is coming from. So they've brainwash these black men. But that's really the story. That's really the issue. That's why black men today fight more for other races, other white women and other races, more than the black woman. They don't respect black women anymore. Now, in general terms, this is the agenda, including from the media, the authorities, the system. Yeah? So the reason why they've been so hard on me is because I've been fighting against what they stand for, what they trying to force me to see from their perspective and be on their side. And I'm a black woman, remember. You've got to remember that I see from a black woman's perspective. I'm a black woman and I'm not sympathetic towards the white woman. Yeah? Now, in the relationship with my stepmother, yes, daddy used to beat her up and treat her a certain way. Now, she had a choice to leave the black man. Because at the end of the day, he didn't even want you. He didn't even want her. Yeah? So she had a choice to leave. But I think she felt she couldn't get no other man because she was burnt, scarred. She didn't feel so confident and attractive. So it was like she was fighting no other man would want her. So she stuck in that relationship. Now, the other thing is, I identify the only thing my dad and my stepmother had in common. Remember, I'm 52 years old now. The only thing my dad and my stepmother had in common was sex. That was all. So, that was it. And apart from that, they didn't get on. There was a culture clash. We weren't really designed to be together as far as I'm concerned. So because the black woman and the black man have a special connection, it's like they're jealous. They've been watching all these decades and decades and decades and decades. They've been watching and they're jealous. So they've been forcing the black man, using manipulation and brainwashing to force him to be respectful and regard the white woman more than the black woman and kill the bond and the connection, the special bond and connection that between the black woman and the black man. And that's really what it's been all about, whether people like it or not. So they've been forcing all these black people against me, and especially the black man, yeah, who has treated me very badly, all my life, basically. So it's just that I happen to be in these circumstances that the media happen to be involved in, and such, and the authorities, and have conspired with this agenda, had been determined with this agenda. And the system has always been racist and like that. They've always wanted to put the white woman, make the black man forced to bow down. I have photographs that were stolen by the police, yeah, and the system, because it shows the black man in the civil rights time in America. These are real photographs that came out during Black Lives Matter, during the lockdown. And he was forced to bow down and kiss the white man's foot in front of a crowd of white people. And plus, they jumped on his back and ride him like a donkey. I had these photographs. They stole these photographs. I think I've still got one somewhere on one of my phones. But it's not on the gallery. It's inside somewhere. So, I want to photocopy that, download it, because these photographs have been erased from the internet, coincidentally. I can't get them anymore. Why is the system trying to hide these photographs? This has been the agenda for a very long time. Yeah? To get the black man to subdue. I have a friend called Seymour Henry. He was with a white woman for about 30 years or so. He was with a black woman before, but he dumped the black woman for the white woman. He thought she was more attractive then, yeah? Remember, every case is a bit slightly different, but the agenda is the same. So he was brainwashed because he used to fight for, he's a Rasta man. He used to fight for black liberation and everything. And he dumped the black woman for a white woman. Yeah, and he told me the police were after him from those days, back in those days when he used to be in the Brixton riots, fighting for black people's rights and everything. So he look at the brainwashing now that has been done, the psychology over the time. He dumps a black woman for this white woman, Italian woman, yeah? And he has 2 children to her, 2 mixed race girls. And then over time, everything was all right. They basically had a good sex life. Then fast forwarding on to the children had grown up, left home. Fast forwarding on to today. A couple of years ago, or last year, a couple of years ago, she walked out on him. Yeah, and she called, not only did she walk out on him, she called the police on him. Now, he's an amputee. He had his leg amputated a few years ago. One of his leg chopped off by the NHS. The police came in with a police van outside and helicopters and loads of police cars. They grabbed him, manhandled him, and threw him into the back of a police van with one leg. They didn't ask him no question. She just phoned the police and told him how she was he's beating her up, he's threatening her, and she's basically a victim of domestic violence from this big black Rasta man. They didn't ask her no question. They threw him in the back of the van. They took him to Lambeth, a medium secure unit in Lambeth, which is equivalent to a prison. And they just locked him up in there. Now, he didn't argue. He didn't fight. He was frightened. They left him in there for quite a long time. Now, he called me, the black woman, after he cussed me and told me, oh, you don't like white people, you're too racist, you're too against white people, blah, 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 blah. Who was it he called? Of all the people he said he knows, nobody was there for him. I was the only one that he could rely on. He called me and said, please, Michelle, I need your help. So I come to his rescue, I come down and everything, yeah? Even his own mixed race children, who were the children to the white woman as well, were against him. They turned against him. I was the only one there for him. So when I came to the medium secure unit, the hospital, basically, the mental hospital, because he told me he's in a mental hospital. When I went there, I realized it was a medium secure unit. It was fully secured, doors, you go in one door that's locked, then you have to speak to the people through the intercom before they let you in another door, then you have to stay there before you go in another locked door, and then you have to stay in a locked square, in a box, before they let you into the ward. Then on the ward, you have to stay in a special room. Then I realized straight away it was a medium secure unit because they put me in one at one time. I was in the John Howard Centre in Hackney in 2009. That's why I recognized it was a medium secure unit. It's not a normal regular mental hospital where you just walk in and you go in there and ting. Yeah? So he didn't know he was in a medium secure unit. I said, Seymour, you do recognize you're in a medium secure unit. It's basically you're in a prison. Yeah? So he said, I didn't know, I don't know. So I said, yeah. And the thing about it, he doesn't have no criminal record, basically. He doesn't really have a criminal record and thing like that. So I said, they should put you in a medium secure unit. Yeah? Because you didn't put your hand on her. And basically what happened, during the relationship, in the later years, he would be talking to her anyhow and treating her anyhow. He didn't really respect her because basically she was white. And he would talk to anyhow, because I know as a black woman, he could talk to me. If I was in a relationship with a man, he's not talking to me like that and dealing with me like that. I tell him to fuck off long time. And she would say, I can't take it anymore, Seymour. Because I used to hear everything over the phone. Because me and Seymour always used to talk regularly on the phone every day. And we'd be on the phone for hours and hours and hours. And I could hear everything in the background. And he'd have this big sound system in his house that he's had for years and years, donkey's years. And he'd be playing it all day, all night. And this woman, he's like in his 60s. She's like 70. This white Italian woman that he's been with all this long time. And I couldn't tolerate being with a man who you're playing your big sound system, full blast all day, all night, every single day. That would drive me, and I'm 70 years, imagine being 70, and that would drive you up the fucking wall. And then when she's in bed sleeping, she's not only got that noise to contend with, but he would be bothering her and say, Liviana. Her name was Liviana. Is Liviana. He'd say, wake up, wake up. And she said, but I'm tired. I need some sleep. And he said, get up and go get me something to eat, man. Get up, I need something to drink. So she would be his dog's body. So she'd be crying, and then she'd get up, go to the kitchen, make him something to eat, get him a drink. Then he'd say, get me a drink. Then she'd go back downstairs, get a drink for him. Then he wastes it. He don't want it. So she started crying, and then he'd be saying, they might watch me. And then basically it all became too much for her. She said, you're not well, Seymour. I can't take anymore. She'd be crying, and I could hear in the background crying. And he says things like, you stupid woman, man, I don't slap you. You stupid woman, man, I don't slap you. So he was stressed out, and he did subjected to certain threats, and his behavior was quite intolerable. But Boris Johnson was equivalent to the similar, same. With his wife, his current wife, before they got married and the police were called, remember everybody, to Boris Johnson's house? But the police didn't grab him and put him in a medium security unit. He just said, sorry, we've just had a bit of a domestic, it's over now, we're back, everything's all right now. And that was the end of it. So because he was a black man, many people have domestic. He doesn't have a criminal record like Boris Johnson doesn't have a criminal record. Yeah, so it was just, situation like that it come to heads. But the reason why in Liviana and Seymour's relationship it come to that is because, yes, he didn't respect her because she was a white woman as much as he would have respected a black woman, but it's because many of these interracial relationships are just based on sex. Between the white woman and the black man, they're just based on sex. And, a lot of them marry or get together when they're younger. And later on down the line, they realize after the sex has gone down, because she's like 70, and she didn't want sex with him anymore because he told me when he had his leg amputated, she just went off sex with him. She didn't want no more sex from him. And he used to get mad. And that's what got him mad and frustrated in the relationship. That's why he used to say, get up, give me something to eat. Because he told me she wouldn't give him sex anymore. And this was really frustrating him. Because he had one leg. And he was stressed with the sickness that he was getting sick. Sick-taking body. He wasn't really attractive anymore. So he couldn't go where he was good looking as a young black man. He could get any woman. That option was not available to him anymore. So he was stuck with the white woman that he chose. She didn't want sex with him. And he used to say she whole and haggard anyway. She's very haggard. She's like 70. She's very haggard and old now. So the sex had gone down. The sex was zero. There was no more sex in their life. And that's why he got frustrated. Now, any man would get frustrated if he no longer could have sex. So a lot of men would get frustrated, black men especially, yeah? And and it suddenly dawned on me, that was the pinnacle of their relationship. It was sex. It was based on sex. It was based on the physical. There was no real connection there, like between the black man and the black woman. That special connection, that deep bond. It wasn't there between the black man and the white woman. It was solely physical and based on sex. So when the sex fizzles out, there's nothing left in the relationship except argument and contention. So there you have it. Why should I be made to suffer because my dad didn't respect the white woman and she went through what she went through? That's why they killed him. And they want to force me and they put Yvonne through the same thing, not just me. And other black women have suffered. I'm not saying every black woman, but a lot of black women have suffered. Yeah? Now, as a result of this media intrusion and all these authorities. Yeah? So the fact is that they wanted to force it. They didn't hate me. They just wanted to force me to come round to their mindset. They keep saying, change your mindset. So they want to force me to put me in certain position that I get mad eventually after so long. After over 50 years, how many years? Yeah, decades. And I say, fuck you, black man, because you get on my fucking nerves. Look how you fucking carry on. You're fucking full of shit. And then, you know, all this animosity against me. They want to draw me into their thing there. Their side. And then they will use their powers to make everything. Once you go on their side and stick up for them and advocate for them, then they turn everything around and make it all right for you and give you back the black man emasculated and effeminated. So I reject all this because I don't want the black man to be emasculated and effeminated anyway, because I don't want you like that. I'll be very honest, I don't want you like that. I prefer you to be as you are, natural, having respect for the black woman and that bond we have. Yeah? And because nobody can doubt that the black man and the black woman has a special bond and a special connection more than any white woman or any other race. It's a fact. Yeah? No one can deny that. And that's basically what they've been working on over the decades, to reduce and subject to zero respect, and make the black man brainwash him and manipulate him to respect the white woman and other races more than the black woman. That's why the black man is out there nowadays, busy, more likely to fight for white women and other races more than the black, full black woman of African descent. Jamaicans, Nigerian women. I mean, some black men are very negative towards Jamaican and Nigerian women. They say we're bullies, we're gold diggers. This is not even true. It was the white woman in the first place that is a gold digger. Yeah, and greedy. Because during the marriage, my dad used to beat up my stepmother. Yeah, and talk to her badly and treat her badly. But he always gave her money. She was never without money. He gave all the money regular. Every time she asked for material things, Daddy would provide it for her. Every birthday, Christmas, Mother's Day, Easter, Daddy would buy her flowers, chocolates, roses, perfumes, clothes, shoes. And he gave her money regularly. So she was always buying clothes. She had a big wardrobe full of clothes. Minivon had nothing. He gave her everything. So even though he used to beat her up and treat her badly, he still gave her what she demanded. Because she was giving him her pussy. So she demanded the material things. And she got it. She got always nice clothes, brand new wigs, makeup, perfume, shoes, coats, jackets. The room, her bedroom was being decorated. Brand new furniture, brand new bed. She got everything. She always got the money from Daddy. Yeah? So at the end of the day, as a black woman now today, that's why many of us are being subjected to this treatment by the black man, and we don't get no money, we don't get nothing, we don't get no flowers, no chocolate, no roses, no perfume, no romantic dates, and we're getting treated like shit. That is the reason. So I just wanted to let everyone know that I refuse to back down. They're only subjecting me to this because I refuse to take their side. I refuse to see things from their point of view. I am a black woman and I see things from a black perspective. Yeah? The black man should respect the black woman more than anybody else. Yeah? We have a deep connection, a deep bond. We go way back. Yeah? We go way back. Yeah? And, you know, we connect naturally. We get on. Genuinely. Given half the chance, without the interference, the black man and the black woman get on like house on fire. They get on brilliantly. Without interference. But with this interference, unwanted interference, that's why the relationships and marriages between the black man and the white woman is not working. Between the black man and the black woman, sorry, is not working because we are targeted. We have been targeted for a long time. And those are the reasons why. Thank you for listening.